Hey friends, Seth Cross here, and this is part 2 of ranking all of the Last Airbender legendary creatures that are from the Last Airbender set, not the Last Airbender Eternal set. A couple disclaimers. First of all, before I even get into the disclaimers, remember to like, comment, subscribe in order to see more of this content and encourage me to make more of it. And then my two disclaimers, these are being looked at from a commander perspective and also my commander perspective, right? So if it's going to be like stacks or hand taxing or something like that, I'm probably not going to be as strong on it as much as like playing things from the graveyard and everything like that, because that is more my playstyle. So just kind of keep that in mind. And also, if like something's super broken in like standard, modern, whatever, I'm not going to know that. I have no point of being able to tell that. So just kind of give me a break on that one too. But as you can see from that way, we have already done the first 10. It was all the A's and the B's. Here we're going to go C's through, I think, H's or I's, up to J. That's going to be about 12 cards, so we're going to kind of rocket through these and see how many we can get in about 20-30 minutes. We'll see. We'll see how quickly this goes. The categories you can see there, the ones that I absolutely want to build, I'm going to be like looking for buying them as singles when the set comes out. Things that are kind of cool, and if I run out of things to build or I just want a new deck, I might build them. Cards that might just go into the 99 of either one of the other commanders or one of the commanders I already am playing. Interesting cards that I think might be cool commanders, but they're just not my playstyle, something like that. And then things that I just absolutely either think are garbage cards, kind of like throwaways, or I just really hate that playstyle, so anything stacks or hand taxing. Then, without further ado, we're going to start off with our one and only C, I think, in the entire set. This is Combustion Man. This is a 3 red human assassin. He's an uncommon. He's a 4/6, and when he attacks, destroy target permanent unless its controller has Combustion Man, deal damage to them equal to his power. So, despite the fact that this is an uncommon and a pretty like straightforward effect, I actually do think this is really cool. In the sense of, one, it's removal. Two, if you are giving him lifelink, he'll then gain that amount of life. If you are giving him infect, he is then potentially an infect way of killing people to where like they have to let you destroy the thing, and then if you're giving them trample or anything else, like they have to kind of already be afraid of his infecting ability or his lifelinking ability, what have you. Same thing can be true with like you can put death touch on him to kind of make it so that death touch and trample will make sure he's getting in more damage. So he's probably actually pretty cool. And then if you deal with the red abilities to amplify damage, whether it's adding 1 extra damage, 2 extra damage, or doubling or tripling the damage, I think that will add up really fast. And then of course he's in mono red, so like you're gonna have ways to give him haste where this is just gonna be an imminent threat all over the place. So for being an uncommon like mono red deck, I actually really do like this, and I think that it's not something that I absolutely have to build, but I could see myself having a good time with this, or seeing other people playing it and thinking, man, that's really cool. I wish I could do stuff like that. But so I think I am going to put this in a looks cool might build. We were not done with Azulas. We were just done with cards that had Azula as the first name and therefore in a category. So this is Fire Lord Azula. This is 1 blue, black, and red, a human noble. She's a rare 4/4, and she still has her firebending too, which if you watched the last video, she always seemed to have firebending too on the other cards as well. Whenever you cast a spell while Fire Lord Azula is attacking, copy that spell, and you may choose new targets for the copy. So it does kind of remind me of the dinosaur, the Tamir dinosaur, whose name escapes me, which is really bad because my oldest son plays it, Calamax, where if the first instant you would play while it was tapped, you could double it. So this is kind of the same but different. You could hold on to all your instants, declare her as an attacker, and then just while you're in combat, even after damage or blockers or whatever, you can start casting spells and then they get doubled. It's not just the first spell, so it's almost like a power crept Calamax, kind of, sort of. Calamax had the benefit of getting counters on it over time, whereas this one will not do that, but just getting to double your spells like over and over again is really powerful, and it gets out of control like pretty quickly. Me personally, would I build this? Grixis, I do love combat orientated strategies. There are definitely some like red power-up spells that you can kind of do where you could be, let's say somebody declares no blockers and you could like Titan Strength, which I think is an instant for like 1 red mana where either 1 red or just a single red mana where it's like +3/+1 until end of turn. target creature gets it. Like just casting that, and like you have the mana, whether it's 1 red or just red, you have that, and you're gonna get +6/+2. You're dealing 10 damage after somebody has declared no blockers because she's still in attacking phase. So I think that's actually really powerful. She's got black in there, so Tainted Strike is a possibility. You can start talking about killing people with infect damage. I like that. I don't know. I think this is actually a really cool card. I hadn't really looked at it. I have seen this card. I don't remember if I read the abilities or if I just saw the art and saw that, oh, it's Azula and it's really cool looking and it's crit 6, blah, blah, blah. I think I might want to build this one. I think I do want to build this one. This one's cool. We're going to put this in. I'm building this. So we're going to see. We're going to see as we go down the line if something like super cool is like better than it and does kind of the same thing and this bumps it out. I doubt that's going to be the chance, but you never know. Speaking of Fire Lords, we then have Fire Lord Zuko, which is our first Zuko of these series. This is red, white, black for a human noble ally. This one's a rare. 2/4 Firebending X, where X is Fire Lord Zuko's power. So this is the first iteration, I think, of the cards that we've looked at, where we're seeing it not just be Firebending 2. Again, Azula has that Firebending 2. Zuko might be the stronger Firebender. I mean, like, initially, they do the same thing. Right, it's Firebending 2. However, Thomas Space, he definitely has the potential to for that to grow. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, and whenever a permanent you control enters from exile, play a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So that's how he's going to gain power, right? You're going to cast things from exile. He's going to get those counters, and therefore he's going to Firebend even more over time. So Azula, kind of locked in. She doesn't ever. I guess the joke here is that she never really grows past her obsession and her manipulation and like all of her like Azula-ness, whereas Zuko, as we see him from the beginning of the show to the end where he does become Fire Lord Zuko, spoilers, I guess, he doesn't really grow as a character. Playing things from exile in Mardu, red, white, and black, is not impossible because red definitely has a lot of effects where you exile cards on top of your library and you can play them this turn. I do like the fact that it doesn't just say cast a spell from exile, but a permanent you control enters from exile, so that's for like when you are exiling lands, if the card allows you to play it. So it might even be a kind of a way of like ramping, or at least making sure you hit your land drops. I don't necessarily think a lot of those cards, unless they have green in them, will allow you to play an additional land, but it will at least make sure that like you're exiling to dig for your lands. So not necessarily ramp, but keeping you on par with everybody else. And then +1/+1 counters in white is definitely good. I think it's pretty cool. And then you're just getting like more mana over time. It's a cool card. It is cool. That's hard. I haven't done a Mardu deck in a while. So I think I will put this as a I want to build this. Yeah, I do think this is really cool. We talked a little bit last time about Boomy. Now we're going to talk about Flopsy, Boomy's buddy. This is his Ape Goat friend. This costs 4 green, is uncommon. Ape Goat 4/4. When it enters, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Each creature you control with power 4 or greater can't be blocked by more than one creature. So, by itself, I don't necessarily... it could be its own commander, to be honest with you. Green is really good at ramping. Green is really good at playing with counters. Green is really good about having creatures with power 4 or greater to do things. And then you build on that, right? So it is 100% a mono green commander. I think out there you will see mono green Flopsy decks just run by it. However, for me personally, I think that there is more breadth of this card in the 99 of other decks. I'm about to be building a Miles Morales deck for my youngest son because he really likes that version of Spider-Man. So that's a +1/+1 counter deck in Naya. This could 100% be a card that would do really well with that. And then anything that has Menace basically becomes unblockable once it has power 4 or more, because Flopsy will say that you can't block with more than one. However, Menace says you have to have more than one, so they kind of work together to make something unblockable. So I do really like that. And then again, in red, white, and green with Miles Morales, I'm sure there are ways to give Menace, J. Jonah Jameson, and yeah, basically you're making probably your commander unblockable at that point. Plus, it gives itself that ability. So if you just give Flopsy Menace, ta-da! Oh, and it doesn't say each other creature too. It's each creature you control. So Flopsy's a 6 mana, like 5/5 essentially, at least, like at a bare minimum, plus the second ability. and then if you have more creatures, it adds on. I definitely think this is a 99 card though. I feel like there are so many decks that care about 1/1 counters or big creatures and stuff like that that it's gonna do really well there. So I think that's the best play for it. Going back to the water tribes, we actually haven't seen the water tribes yet, but going to our first iteration of water tribe, this is Grand for a single blue mana. She's a human peasant ally. That's so rude. Like, I know we had like a couple of human nobles with the Azula and Zuko cards and everything. Just like, yeah, this peasant. It's an uncommon 1/2, and whenever it becomes tapped, you draw a card, then discard a card. Non-creature spells cast 1 less to cast as long as there are 3 or more lesson cards in your graveyard. It's a cool design. Helps probably play your enchantments or your artifacts or your lessons themselves, as long as, you know, those. I don't think there are any lesson creatures, right? I don't know. But yeah, as long as you're doing those kind of things, it should be pretty much, it's going to be a go in the 99 deck, or goes in the 99 card. It by itself, I don't think necessarily is good enough to be a commander. I mean, you can play it on your first turn in the model blue deck, but and it is kind of like card selection. But I do ultimately believe that this is going in the 99. Super easy to put it there. Then we have Guru Patik. I'm probably saying that wrong. I don't even really remember this character. Somebody's going to have to remind me, or I'm going to have to look it up later. But this one is 2 and hybrid Simic. So you can pay with either green or blue. This is a human monk ally. It's uncommon to 2/4. When it enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a lesson, saga, or shrine from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Whenever you cast a lesson, saga, or shrine, put a 1/1 counter on another target creature you control. Honestly, it's an uncommon, but for Simic, like this is kind of like everything Simic wants to do. The lessons thing, again, I have to look into the lessons, see how much like that really matters. The shrines are probably kind of limited, but like saga, so enchantments in with green, +1/+1 counters on things in green and blue for proliferate, like it's card advantage. Blue will allow you to have some kinds of flickers and bounce stuff. Like this is actually a pretty like, am I crazy here? Like, I know it's only a 2/4 for 4 mana, but it has kind of like instant payoff in the sense of you get to kind of like refill your hand, probably. Not refill, it's a, not any number of, so. But still, like, I feel like there's something here. Plus, we just got the summons, which were sagas in Final Fantasy. I feel like there's a really cool deck here. I'm not going to put it as an I'm definitely building, but it definitely looks cool, and I could see myself trying to figure out, like, what this strategy is somewhere in the grand scheme of things. And then, speaking of the water tribes, at least from a couple of cards ago, we have Hakoda, Selfless Commander. This is Katara and Sokka's father. 3 and a white. This is a human warrior ally, and he is a rare. He's a 3/5 with vigilance. You may look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may cast allies spells from the top of your library. If you sacrifice them, creatures get +0/+5 and get indestructible until end of turn. It's a very defense-driven card. I definitely think this is going to wind up going in the 99 for the like toughness matters style decks, whether it's the Abzan Dragon or Arcades, who cares about butts, you know, stuff like that. Raison, I think it's the Golgari one, or maybe it's Ikra Shadiki paired with anything that gives white, because I think that one cares about when you hit Ikra's toughness, you gain life equal to Ikra's toughness or something like that. But like, my point is that I think there's a lot of synergy for this and other decks. The only thing that I think really does kind of make it want to be its own deck is the ally part. Looking at the top card of your library for at any time is just interesting knowledge in general. You won't necessarily always get to be able to play ally spells because you may not have ally spells. But I do think that this is a really good in the 99 deck. I don't necessarily know that it's a great commander by itself. And then a card that I am actually pretty interested in, just because I like this character. She was kind of creepy, she was kind of crazy, and I like that in my characters. Sometimes I just like a good psychotic bad guy. This is Hama the Bloodbender. This is the first person that kind of teaches Katara what bloodbending is, I think. 2 and then 3 instances of hybrid Demeter mana, so blue-black 3 times. For an uncommon human warlock that is a 3/3, when it enters, target opponent mills their cards, exile up to 1 non-creature, non-land card from the player's graveyard. For as long as you control Hama, you may cast the exile card during your turn by waterbending X, rather than paying its mana cost, where X is its mana value. So basically, you're stealing something out of a graveyard that isn't a creature, and you can play it at any time for whatever its mana value, and you can tap artifacts or creatures to play it. Definitely going to be cooler in, I think, the 99 of a lot of decks. I definitely do think there are some decks where just, one, the mill, and then the ability to steal things is just going to be really good. If she's the commander, you really do want to kind of hone in a little bit on the waterbending. Whether that's through getting lots of tokens or just getting lots of like little, tokens, right? Artifacts are, some artifacts are tokens, some tokens are artifacts. So that's definitely something to think about, whether you're doing like clues or something, or treasures, obviously. I could see a Barakos with like some way of amplifying his trigger to make lots of tokens and stuff like that. Unfortunately, she's not a wizard, so she can't be part of Barakos's party, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah, I really like the character too, so I think that's gonna kind of bump it up in my opinion. I am not gonna put this as like I have to build this, but I definitely do think I could find myself building this if I ran out of decks to build or something, or Wizard stuff releasing 50 million sets a year. That'd be nice, but they're not going to. But yeah, this is definitely a cool deck, or a cool commander, but not necessarily one that I'm lining up to build immediately. And then we roll back in for our first foray into the Earthbenders. This is Haru. Oh no, Boomy. We did Boomy. Haru Hidden Talent is 1 in the green for a human peasant ally again. This is an uncommon 1/1, and whenever another ally you control enters, you Earthbend 1. Yeah, I think he goes in the 99 of some kind of an ally deck, but I do not think he necessarily does anything else. I don't really know too much to say about this one. Yeah, like he goes in the 99, that's great. He's definitely there for like ally decks to Earthbend, especially if you care about like some kind of land strategies. There's a deck for him, but by himself, I don't think he's going to be doing anything too crazy. So. And then we're going to move into the Spirit World with Heibai, Spirit of Balance. This is 2 Orzhov hybrid mana, so white or black both times, for an uncommon Beer Spirit? Let's go. Beer Spirit. Bear Spirit. This is a 3/3. Whenever it enters or attacks, you may sacrifice another creature or an artifact. If you do, put 2 counters on Heibai, and when Heibai leaves the battlefield, put its counters on target creature you control. Again, definitely going to be good in the 99 of a lot of decks that care about +1/+1 counters or sacrificing things or anything like that. However, I do just think that this is a really good deck on its own. First thing that I think of when I see this is the Abzan Falconer, so anything with counters on it gets to fly, so that already adds a little bit of evasion. Any other kind of way of, trying to add more evasion, you could probably, there was an Abzan thing for First Strike, there was one for Death Touch, so pretty much you just have to use an equipment to give him trample, and he's super hard to deal with in general. He's not badly costed. White and black make tokens like crazy. You don't have to sacrifice anything huge. It's not like you get counters equal to something's mana value where like you have to sacrifice something with some kind of value, blah blah blah. But yeah, I do think this is really cool. I don't know that I would build this. I think so. For me, I think this actually winds up in my Kraven Regna deck. So for me, this goes in the 99. I think a lot of people though will see this and want to build this, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see one of these at my table in like the near future. But for me, definitely goes in the 99 of a deck that I am currently already running. All right, I'm gonna gush about this card. I'm gonna gush about this card because I absolutely love this art. I love what it represents. I love this character in the show and this like part of his story. But this is Iro, Grand Lotus, 3 for 3 and green, blue, red for a rare human noble ally, 5/5, has Firebending 2, similar to his niece Azula. During your turn, each non-lesson, instant, and sorcery card in your graveyard has flashback. The flashback cost is equal to that card's mana cost. And during your turn, each lesson card in your graveyard has flashback 1. Realistically, again, I don't know enough about the lesson cards in the set or just in general to really say anything about that, but just in Tamir to be able to use any kinds of instants and sorceries, from the graveyard with a flashback cost. I really like that. There's going to be lots of fun things you can do with a Demure Spellslinger from the graveyards deck, where you could cast it and then you could cast it again, and like it's removal, it's ramp, it's all kinds of crazy stuff, and I absolutely love it. And again, I love this character. This card is actually what made me want to do this video, because I wanted to put him in the I'm building this category. He's going all the way toward the front, because in the last video we did talk about like if I arrange them differently, it's because I want specifically to play that card a little bit more than some of the others. So anything to the left is a little bit spicier. So absolutely, Eero, Grand Lotus. You're gonna see a deck tech for this eventually. You're gonna see it in gameplay videos eventually. It's gonna happen. I don't know what to tell you. You'll hear me gush more and more and more and more about it, probably the more I play it. But super cool card. Thanks, Wizards. And speaking of this character, a little bit earlier on in his story, but Eero Tea Master, for one, a red and a white. This is also a rare human citizen ally, which is kind of funny. Human citizen ally. I do like that. It's a 2/2, and when he enters, create a food token. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target opponent gain control of target permanent you control. Whenever you do, create a 1/1 white ally creature token. Put a 1/1 counter on that token for each permanent you own that your opponents control. So one, I do think this is actually a pretty cool deck. I think in red and white you could do a decent amount of like giving stuff away type stuff. Harmless Offerings in there, Stillskin from the Final Fantasy sets in there, blah blah blah. For me, I do have Zidane as a deck where I want to borrow things and then give it back. And all this says, oh, this does say for each permanent you own that your opponents control. So it's a little bit of play, but it is a way to like give things away, which is Zidane I think gives you treasures for and stuff like that. So this might be in the 99. I have to look at the synergies a little bit more, but right now I'm going to classify this as going in the 99 of my Zidane deck, but I might have to sit down, look at that, and be like, it actually didn't fit as well as I thought. However, no, Zidane doesn't really fit in the sense of, and of course it goes in like the 99 of like Zedru decks and stuff too, where you are specifically like playing stuff and giving it away, in order to draw more cards. Now you could be making a big creature to attack with as well, so it's not just about either life gain or like kind of running out of cards, or like stacking people down with like bad permanents that you're giving them or something like that. So for this Eero, I moved the wrong Eero, didn't I? Whoops. For this Eero, I'm going to say he goes in the 99. I don't think necessarily that he is a super cool build all on his own just yet, or what have you, but I do think that he has a place in some of the decks. So, but that's going to be it for part 2. We have gotten through 22 out of 65, so we're about a third of the way there, so there might be like 6 of these. I'll see if I can buff them up a little bit to try to make it, maybe there's only 5 parts, but we'll see. But again, make sure you let me know in the comments below what you're thinking about my rulings. What cards are you super excited to see for your own commander decks? What cards are going in the 99 of your existing decks, etc.? What cards do you absolutely hate? I'm actually surprised we haven't seen any trash cards yet so far. That's kind of cool. That just shows that it's a really well-designed set, that it's not just making people miserable when they go to play these kind of cards or anything like that. So absolutely, absolutely, absolutely let me know what you think so far. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you follow me over on Blue Sky and on Moxfield. Those links will be in the video description. Join the Discord if you want a place to talk about Magic. Play, at least every Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And yeah, at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we run a couple of games every night or every week. And yeah, it's a good time as long as you're a cool person in the community. But yeah, until next time, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Peace.